In today's show, it's a bonus episode of Locked on Blazers. We're getting you ready for the Hoophead holiday season. If you want to see some great basketball in the Portland area, we're talking about the Les Schwab Invitational that's produced NBA level talent and NBA spectators in the stands. Something to do next week as you celebrate the holiday season here in Portland. Welcome to Locked on Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked on Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to a bonus episode of Locked on Blazers. We're talking all things Les Schwab Invitational this week with my man, friend of the program and tournament promoter, Reggie Walker. Reggie, thanks for joining the show. Tell us about the Les Schwab.
Hey, thanks for having me on. The intro was dope. One take too. You're a professional. You're a pro's pro.
I've done a lot of these, Reg.
Nice to be here. Thanks for shining the spotlight. You have. No, doing it daily. I know how it goes. But yeah, no, thanks for the platform. Thanks for having us on. I know you always like giving back to kind of where you got your start from. So we just appreciate it. We're really excited for tournament this year. Tips off Monday the 26th. We go all the way till next Friday the 30th. We've got maybe our best field ever, one of the best, just at least in terms of star power. Sierra Canyon, who is probably the most popular high school team in the country, with Bronny James, LeBron's son, his other son Bryce James. Duncanville, who enters the Les Schwab just by how well they've been playing and knocking off a lot of the top teams from around the country in other tournaments. They're actually ranked number one in the country right now entering the tournament. So they're probably the favorite. I think the crowd will rally around Sierra Canyon just because of the popularity around them. And then Bishop Gorman, who's I think ranked in the top 25 in the country, they might play upset maker amongst the other two top teams. And then obviously our Oregon schools are always make noise. That's kind of what the tournament is about. I wouldn't be surprised if they battle one of those national powers or even upset someone. So really looking forward to being there at Liberty High School next week. Again, December 26th through 30th, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, it's super fun. I started covering the Les Schwab Invitational in 2011 as a much younger person than I am now. Some 11 years ago, and back then it was the best tournament in Oregon, right? Like it was regionally the absolute best tournament, maybe the best tournament on the West Coast over this stretch, which is typically from post Christmas to the New Year, all over the country. Yep. There's tournaments for high school basketball. This is a big time for high school basketball teams to get after it. Back in 10, 11 years ago, this was the best tournament on the West Coast, right? It's maybe the best high school basketball tournament in the country now. It is just, there have been a goofy number of NBA alums that have come through here. The ones that I really remember, the ones that were like super special, include Jeremy Grant from his DeMatha Catholic team. I believe that was in 2013. Jeremy Grant was the third best player on his team in high school. It is a chance to see some young guys early before they pop. Reggie, who are some notable alums who have come through the LSI? And maybe then we can talk about who people are definitely going to have their eyes on that are not LeBron's kids this week.
Right. I think going back all the way kind of to the early years of the tournament, I think one of the first big names was Tyson Chandler. And he came with Dominguez. That year the tournament was at the Memorial Coliseum. He was just super dominant, like a fluid mover at his size. I mean, he kind of was the same player in high school that he was in the NBA. Maybe even a little bit more like raw athleticism as like a teenager than, especially his time with like the Mavericks when he won the championship that year. So I think he kind of kicked off he's the number 2 player in the country. There was an article about him in Sports Illustrated, like right before the Les Schwab tip that year, about kind of the attention to preps to pros and how the sneaker companies were trying to get ingrained with the young kids, and just talked about all the gear he got, where he came from. So he was like a minor celebrity at the time. So I think that kind of helped and having the tournament where the Blazers player at the Memorial Coliseum was just kind of a big deal. Next year, you had Carmelo Anthony and Oak Hill, who had come previous, and Oak Hill kind of had this aura of brand behind them. They were really the first prep school to do it, like a bunch of them are now. They were kind of one of the first ones to get players mostly from the East Coast, but some from the South too, to basically just become professionals at a young age. I mean, they were still considered amateur athletes, but they basically just decided to move away from their families, kind of in the middle of nowhere. No internet, no cell. I mean, it's before cell phones, I guess, but the internet existed, but they didn't have any of that stuff. They basically lived in cabins in the woods and traveled the country playing basketball. So I think Carmelo in 01 was huge. And then Kevin Durant, the first year the tournament moved to Liberty, which was 2004. That was actually my first year of college. That the tournament moved to Liberty that year. And I think it kind of found its home. We haven't moved since. And that was the opening year of Liberty. So it was brand new high school. Hillsborough School District built it bigger than the others so they could host their graduations and stuff there. I think Intel put some money into it because it's out by the Intel campus. So it was like a state-of-the-art, brand new, super cool high school. And it still is nice now. It's 20 years old, but it's nice. So having KD there, and you talk about third best player on the team. I mean, he was the third best player on his team. He was a junior. They had a guy named Jamont Gordon who was an animal. I mean, he won the MVP. They had Ty Lawson, who was played similar to like his style in the NBA as a high school point guard. And they had a guy named Eric Devendorf who started at Syracuse. I think he might have had a cup of coffee in the league, but I mean, he was like an alpha. Thought he was the best player on the court even when they had KD. And
freshman
Jeff
on the
beat him
2003 championship team, I believe, with Carmelo Anthony. So,
yes, yep.
Eric Devendorf, and I think he works for Syracuse now. Legend in the Q's.
I think he does. Yeah,
the Q's world.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we tag him in our Instagram stuff. He's always interactive. I think he is at Syracuse now. But yeah, that team and Jeff was really strong that year. Jefferson High School from Portland was really strong that year. They actually almost beat Oak Hill in the semifinals. Like they're leading going into the fourth quarter. So you have the NBA athletes on one side, the local school that the crowd is rallying behind on the other side. So that I think helped it gain a little bit more momentum. And then over since you started covering, right, you had Michael Porter and Ben Simmons. Marvin Bagley, Markelle Fultz. I mean, those are 2 number 1 draft picks, a number 2 draft pick. I think we've done a good job targeting individual standout players mixed in with strong high school brands. And then obviously having our high school teams, having West Lynn be a strong program, having Jefferson be a strong program like Oswego. Even Grant has done well on the Les Schwab kind of since you started covering it 10 years ago. You couple that in with the NBA players and the big high school national brands. We have elevated as a tournament for sure.
Yeah, it's so fun. Like, I mean, DeJounte Murray was in the tournament one year, and he's very clearly an NBA player. Like immediately, it's like, okay, who is this guy? And he was 16 at the time. A really special moment for me was Jahlil Okafor's Whitney Young High School from Chicago, which had 3 D1 kids on the team, including Paul White, who ended up playing at Oregon.
Yep.
And Okafor was just the best player in the country, right? He was just such a special high school athlete. And Peyton Pritchard, as a sophomore, beat that team. And it was a moment where you knew Peyton Pritchard was going to be a national level recruit. And this is what makes the Les Schwab Invitational so fun. And what Reggie and his crew has done such a good job is like, you get the best teams in Oregon, right? And you want to see them. If you're an Oregon high school hoops fan or just local hoops fan, you want to see the best kids play. Like you're going to want to go see this West Lynn team play. You're going to want to go see Beaverton play, right? Like this is going to be, you're going to want to get out there and see them. And then you get to see them play against national level teams. I want to talk about that in the second segment about what we're going to see this week and who to keep an eye on, because it's like, this is where I first saw Aaron Gordon. And and Aaron Gordon was dunking on everybody. And you knew he was going to be an NBA guy at Archbishop Midi even then. And his team wasn't even very good. But it was like you get a chance to see guys first So you could go next week, starting December 26th at Liberty High School. Great venue to watch these games, by the way. But
it is.
Go next week and see these dudes before they make it to the league. Let's talk about what we're going to see next week. A couple names to know, but first, I want to tell you that this episode is brought to you by BetOnline, and I got the wrong thing up there, but with BetOnline, it's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your sports action, whatever sports action that might be. So if you're looking for NBA games, looking for NHL, if you're looking for soccer futures, once we get back rolling in European soccer, you're looking for MLB futures as we enter the MLB offseason, you're excited about what the New York Mets are doing, you're going to find all of that there, plus news, even some podcasts to help you become a smarter, more informed, better. So why don't you go check that out? That is BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, we're still chatting here with Reggie Walker, head of the Les Schwab Invitational Tournament that begins December 26th and runs through December 30th with games every single day. You can buy tickets by day to go through a session every day next week. Whole bunch of fun. Reggie, who are names that we need to know as we head into next week? Who are folks going to be packing the gym to watch? Because I assume the gym is going to be packed.
It will be. If anybody's listening to this, I don't know when you're dropping today or tomorrow. Like, I would encourage
it's going to come out.
It's
going to come out Christmas Eve. So get on it, cool. Y'all.
Yep. So we have tickets are on sale at LesSchwabInvitational.com. You buy them, like you said, by the session. Each night has its own. Each night's like its own event. It's like treated like a Blazer game. Each night being its own deal. Sessions 2, 4, 7, and 10. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. Those are when the national teams will be playing. And on Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday, they'll probably be playing against Oregon's top schools, right? I think I'd be remiss to not open talking about who fans are going to want to see if I didn't say Bronny James first. Individually, I don't know if he's necessarily he's not the top ranked player in the tournament, but he's certainly the most famous. I mean, he's got 7 million Instagram followers. He's got NIL deals from Nike, Beats by Dre, Sprite. I mean, he's a celebrity. So I'd say Bronny James is probably the most, will be the most talked about and definitely have the most buzz. Duncanville from Texas, they've had the top ranked player participating in the tournament. His name's Ron Holland. He is committed to the University of Texas, plays super hard, definitely on NBA radars. A lot of projections have him as a one at Texas, eventual lottery pick. I think they have him somewhere in the teens, depending on what site you look at. But definitely on NBA radars, has been for a while. Played for USA Basketball, won 2 gold medals. He's a winner. He's like a no-nonsense, just tough Texas kid. They play like an aggressive, up-in-your-face, get after it, defensive first attitude style of basketball. So I think they're here to like try to punk teams out. Like they're going to do all they can to prove why they're ranked number 1 in the country. They have another kid named KJ Lewis who's committed to Arizona, who's also on some NBA radars. He prides himself on the defensive end as well. He'll have some highlights. They're a no-nonsense team here to prove why they're number 1. And then Bishop Gorman, they have 3 potential NBA players on their roster. They have a sophomore named Christian Nwuli, so he's a 2025, ranked in the top 25, has Power 5 offers already. Was an invite to USA Basketball's junior mini camp and kind of had a coming out party there. Wiry track freak athlete, moves really well. I think he's one of the more underrated athletes in terms of just like explosion, like second jump type stuff. He's crazy. Probably faster than almost anybody baseline to baseline. He'll have a play where, he'll block one off the backboard, run down, catch a lob. And then they have Jace Richardson and John Paul Mobley, who makes up their starting backcourt. Jace Richardson is actually the son of Jason Richardson, like former NBA, I guess we'll call him quasi-star, played in the league for over a decade, NBA dunk contest champion. And Bishop Gorman, their coach Rice, who has been there forever. They've, won 10 out of the last 11 state championships in the state of Nevada. He really lets his guys go. He wants to play an up-tempo, freedom, kind of use his players' athleticism to wear you down. So he lets his guys kind of have free reign. They're awesome to watch. We've had them. This will be the fourth time they've come to the Les Schwab. So they're a pleasure to host. They do a great job. I think our fans kind of know who they are. When Zach Collins was here playing for the Blazers, I mean, he came and supported them.
Yep.
So those are the standout teams in terms of the national side. And then locally, Wes Lynn, who has the best player in the state, he's committed to the University of Oregon. His name's Jackson Shellstad, wears number 3, plays point guard. The comparisons to Peyton Pritchard are obviously, going to happen just given A, the same high school, B, the same jersey number, and, C, that he's committed to Oregon. He's finally getting a chance to kind of prove to the state how good he is. I think he made his name nationally this year with how well he played in the EYBL and at Peach Jam. But just because of the nature of the way the calendars worked with COVID and kind of our state being shut down and just the bumpy path that he's had as a prep athlete, people, I think, may recognize his name or know about him, or, oh yeah, that's the kid going to Oregon from Westland. He's really good. And he really hasn't had a chance to do it locally more than a handful of times. Like his freshman year, he was like 14 years old when he played at the Les Schwab. And they played Norcross, who had JT Thor, who's in the NBA, on their team. Right. And Jackson played really well in that game. His sophomore year, they cancel the Les Schwab is canceled. There's no Oregon State tournament, right? His junior year, they catch COVID right before the Les Schwab, so they don't even participate in the Les Schwab his junior year. He did play well at the state tournament last year, but his team wasn't the best. I ended up losing, I think, in the semifinals. And then this year will be his kind of opportunity to showcase. And he is, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. I think he's more confident in himself. I think he's primed for a big tournament this year at the Les Schwab. He's been coming since he was a kid. I mean, we have pictures of him when he was, doing the contest at halftime. He might have even been there when you were sitting courtside doing the live blogs, like doing our halftime contests. He's
I bet he was. If he's 17 now, yeah.
Yep. No, for sure. So it'll be a cool deal for him. His team is really strong. I mean, they're ranked. I think Lincoln might be the number 1 team if you look on the OSAA website, just because I think they've played more games and played a little bit of a tougher schedule. But I think Westland is the prohibitive favorite if you pulled most of the coaches in the state or most of the people that have a pulse on what's going on. Lincoln is really strong, and they'll get a chance if they win. They open with Tigard on Monday night. There you go. Yep, you got the bracket up. And this is one of the cool things about the tournament is the bracket, right? It's a bracketed format. It's really easy to follow. You can go on our website. You can click after each game is played. You can click on the game number. You get full comprehensive box score stats, just like you would an NBA game or a college game. It's updated on real time online, so you can follow everything. We update it at the venue as well, like coded in the lobby. We have a big bracket on display that people take pictures in front of and stuff. So this lends to a cool way to follow the tournament. But as you can see, the Lincoln Tigard, third game down. If Lincoln wins that game, Lincoln's huge. They have 2 twin brothers. They're seniors. Their mother is actually the coach of the team, the only female coach for boys basketball in the state of Oregon. The brothers are like 6'8" and 6'7" twins. They have another 6'9" junior, and then another 6'10", 6'11" senior on the team. So they're easily the biggest team in the state. And if they're able to get by Tigard, they'd likely match up with Bishop Gorman in the quarterfinals, who would be like a contrast to Styles, which would be cool to see. So it's going to be I think we're set up to have a very, very good year. Lots of strong power. The Oregon teams are tough. Weather shouldn't be an issue. We got that out of the way this week. So just really looking forward to that right now. Yeah, exactly. I look outside the window right now.
Exactly.
Messed up our setup days, and we're audibling and making adjustments, but everything's on track. And yeah, we're just excited for next week.
Yeah, I just we'll wrap up here in a moment, but like the reason I wanted to get Reggie on here is one, I like the Les Schwab Invitational. It's fun. Also, it's kind of a quiet week for the Blazers next week. They play Monday and then they play Friday. Right. So I would assume that you will see some Blazers in the gym. Like this is a kind of like Gucci Row celebrity type tournament. People go. Jimmy Butler has gone in the past. Carmelo Anthony has gone in the past. Dame has attended. Like they will. It'll be in a week where there will be light on local basketball here for the professional team. You can go see really high level basketball in Hillsborough, whatever, 20 minutes west of town, you could go see it. It's a whole bunch of fun. It is probably what got me first really excited about Oregon high school basketball. And then just in sort of like the scene in general and it's only grown from there. I think seeing Sierra Canyon up close, they're like a traveling circus. Like there is no more popular high school basketball team in the country. You just like being in the gym for something like that will be memorable. Plus you'll get to see my man Bryce Maximus and Bronny James get after it. And another Pippen kid. So it's there's a bunch of intrigue. Go check it out. I will link the website and the tickets and all that in the episode description, both on YouTube and in the podcast feed. So check it out. Reggie, is there anything else we need to know before we get you out of here?
No, that was great. I appreciate you saying that about the Blazers schedule too. Yeah, I mean, we've already heard from a few of them that want to come. I think Tuesday night, that's the first night that Sierra Canyon and Duncanville play. Yep. I'm sure we'll hear more. We'll hear from their Nike reps or their Adidas reps, or they'll contact us, they'll DM us to be there. So, we are anticipating that. Those are good problems to have when they do happen. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an awesome year. I think one of the things that if you've never attended before, just to kind of know getting into it, is your session ticket gets you into all of the games for that session. So you're buying a ticket, but you really get to see, if you go to the quarterfinals, for example, on Wednesday night, you buy a session 4 ticket, you get to watch all 4 games. Right. You can go on, select your seat, just like you would at a Blazer game or any Ticketmaster event or whatever. You pick your seat, section 4, row O, seat 7, just like anything else. And you get 4 games. Semifinals is the sessions are 2, championship game, the session is 2 games, but I mean, it's a lot of bang for your buck. The venue is super intimate. I mean, there's no real bad seat in the house.
No, not at all.
Lighting is awesome. It's we will sell out, but it feels good in there even at full capacity. So especially for those with kids or with anybody that kind of wants to know who the up and coming stars are, this is a cool place to be. And we've got halftime entertainment and all that good stuff too. So I mean, we try to make it a show, and we do it for not only the players and the coaches and the participating teams, but obviously for the fans too. So really looking forward to being out there next week.
Yeah, fun place to take your kids. Fun place to see high level basketball, and like Reggie said, you can see 4 games for not that much money, and you can see some really really high level basketball games both locally and nationally for some of the best high school players in the country. Reggie, thank you so much. Dear listeners, thank you for listening. This is a bonus episode of Locked On Blazers, surprisingly in your feed on Christmas Eve. Stay safe this weekend. It's really snowy and icy out there. It's going to be 50 degrees on Monday when the LSI starts. It'll just be back to normal wet Oregon winter weather. So stay safe this weekend, hunker down, and then go check out the Les Schwab Invitational. I appreciate you listening. Talk to you soon.